According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, genetically modified foods make up over 75% of processed foods in America. GMOs are plants or animals that have been genetically manipulated with DNA from other plants, animals, bacteria, or viruses. So then, if you are what you eat, what role has GMOs taken in affecting your personal health and your food consumption choices? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Glee Beret, and today I want to discuss with you the importance in requiring GMOs to be labeled on our food products. As I talk about this issue, I will elaborate on the health and environmental hazards associated with growing and consuming GMOs. Next, I will talk about the ethical obligations that our government has in protecting our freedom of choice and food safety. Then lastly, I will talk about the economic implications that GMO labeling requires. But before I touch on my first point, I want to review with you this visual infographic that I've made. As you can see here, the top 4 GMO crops that the U.S. produces are corn, sugar beets, soy, and canola. 90% or 85 million acres of corn grown by the U.S. is genetically modified. From this, we get corn flour, glucose, and corn meal, and high fructose corn syrups. Many of you know that HFCs, or high fructose corn syrup, is found in many processed foods that we eat. So next I have sugar beets, 98% of which, or 1.1 million acres, are GMO'd. From sugar beets we get white sugar, and white sugar, as you know, is found in practically any processed food that we eat. Next we have soy, 93% of which, or 71 million acres, is genetically modified. Common sources of soy products are soy milk and soy protein. Lastly, I have canola. 93% of canola, or 1.1 million acres, is genetically modified, and canola oil is used to fry foods and bake goods. But take note, all 4 of those products are used as animal feed. So the meat that we consume and our livestock is then implied that they are genetically modified. Now, let me talk about the health and environmental issues concerning GMO crops. A peer-reviewed study by Alberto Finamore for the Journal of Agriculture and Food Chemistry has found that mice fed with genetically engineered corn developed higher rates of infertility, immune diseases, tumors and cancers, severe organ damage, and even death. In human studies conducted by the American Academy of Environmental Medicine, they have shown that genes in GMO can transfer into the DNA of living bacteria found in our bodies. One such study has found that a toxic insecticide from genetically modified corn was found in the DNA of a pregnant woman and therefore her unborn fetus. But that's not all. Toxic insecticides and pesticides from the runoff water of our genetically modifying farms has been found in our water supply. This toxic runoff water flows into our streams and into our rivers, then down into our aquifers and water table. This water table supplies our communal and municipal water supply. Many people don't know, however, that bottled water is not regulated, and many popular bottled water companies use municipal water as what we drink today. So now that I've talked about the health and environmental issues, I want to talk about how the government is obligated to regulate GMO labeling. The U.S. Constitution outlines that it is the duty of the government to provide for the common defense and general welfare of the people. Therefore, it is our constitutional right that the government hold food companies accountable for labeling GMOs, so then we as consumers can have the freedom to choose and know what we consume and put in our bodies. Furthermore, a survey by the Environmental Working Group indicates that 66% of Americans, or the majority, favor GMO labeling. Also, The Center for Agricultural Science and Technology has found that 64 countries either completely ban GMOs or at least require labeling. Now lastly, I'll talk about how GMO labeling is economically feasible. Many food companies and citizens are opposed to GMO labeling because they think that the costs will just be way too high. However, Dr. Andrew Dyke of the Consumers Union has projected that the cost of GMO labeling will be as little as $3 per person per year. Also, when GMO labeling was introduced to the European Union in 1997, the Commissioner for Health and Consumer Protection asserts that labeling, quote, does not increase costs, end quote. So today I talked about how GMO labeling is economically feasible, how GMO labeling alerts us to health and environmental hazards, and how it is a constitutional obligation that the government owes to us. California Prop 37 failed to pass in 2012. This proposition was for the mandatory labeling of GMOs. In the wake of that decision, I implore you to be more safe and be more aware of what you consume. A solution to this is to buy certified organic or non-GMO verified food products until GMO labeling has been enacted. So, considering the points that I have covered today, I hope you too are now sure of your right to know what is in your food. Thank you.